One of the most famous stories in the history of mountaineering concerns the deaths of two British climbers, George Mallory and Andrew Irvine, on Mount Everest in 1924. What was the story? On June 8, 1924, George Mallory and Andrew Irvine set out to attempt to reach the summit of Mount Everest. They were last seen by another team member at an altitude of about 8,600 meters, known as the death zone, and then disappeared. Their disappearance left a big question that remains unanswered to this day. Did they reach the summit of Mount Everest before they died? If so, they would have been the first people in history to reach the summit of the world's highest mountain, before Edmund, Hillary and Tenzing Norgay did it in 1953. What does each photo show? Top photo, standing and sitting. This photo shows the British expedition team on the summit of Mount Everest in 1924. George Mallory and Andrew Irvine are also in the picture. Bottom left, foot. This is the body of George Mallory, who was found on the mountain in 1999 after 75 years of being missing. His body was well preserved due to the extreme cold, and one foot was still attached to his hiking boots. Bottom right, sock. This is a sock with the name A.C. Irvine, Andrew Sandy Irvine on it. The sock became a key piece of evidence that led to the belief that Andrew Irvine was likely near the site where Mallory's body was found. However, Irvine's body has never been found, and the search continues to this day. The story of Mallory and Irvine remains one of the most famous mysteries in mountaineering history, and it has inspired generations of climbers. The group you see in the photo is the British Everest expedition of 1924. The expedition had one clear goal: to become the first group in history to reach the summit of the world's highest mountain. Here are some details about the group. Key members: George Mallory, one of the most experienced and famous climbers of his time. He was the driving force behind the group and the one who often said, "because it's there," when asked why he wanted to climb Everest. Andrew Sandy Irvine, the youngest climber in the group. Although he had little mountaineering experience, he was a gifted engineer. He helped design and repair the oxygen equipment, a new and important technology for high-altitude mountaineering. Edward Norton, the official leader of the expedition. He also set the record for the highest altitude ascent without oxygen, before Mallory and Irvine's final attempt. Noel Odell, the team's geologist. He was the last person to see George Mallory and Andrew Irvine alive on the mountain. His observations left a great deal of doubt about their fate. Chronology of the expedition. Preparations. The team set up base camp on the north face of Everest and established several high camps along the way. Summit attempts. There were several summit attempts by various team members, but they failed due to bad weather and lack of oxygen. On June 6th, Edward Norton reached 8,570 meters without supplemental oxygen, a new record, but he had to return due to health problems. Mysterious disappearance. On June 8th, Mallory and Irvine began a final attempt to reach the summit. Using oxygen equipment, they were spotted from a distance by Odell at 12:50 p.m., climbing at a high altitude. They then disappeared into the cold mountain air and never returned. The expedition ended in a mix of record-breaking success and great tragedy. The disappearance of Mallory and Irvine remains one of the world's most fascinating stories.